Hero Comic Bargains with a multiversity of savings. Ha 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 ha. Get it? So here we have Multiversity focusing on the Thunder World. Um, this, I believe, is Captain Marvel. Yeah, it is Captain Marvel. Note to self, in the 70s, there was a Captain Thunder that DC did, which was basically Captain Thunder was exactly the same as Captain Marvel. I remember that issue where Superman fought Captain Thunder from the 70s. But this is kind of like the idea of the New 52. This is during the New 52 where there were 52 worlds, and so one of them was the Shazam world. This is the Multiversity Guidebook. It is very helpful for that time, but it's outdated now. But it has a maps and guidelines to all the different New 52 universes. So, Earth 1 being considered, Earth 0 being considered, let's see, this is the map. And then Earth 0 being considered, oh, that's not where I want to look for. Okay, here we are, finally. Earth 0 is where the New 52 was residing. And it was a mashup of like the previous Earth, but also like basically only 5 years have happened. It was really kind of like, to me, the Jim Lee Wildstorm version of events. New 52, what it should have done, if they really wanted to just reboot the entire DC universe, they should have just done a separate reboot universe and kept the legacy universe as kind of like, the classic Earth, you know what I mean? Anyways, Earth 1, they tried these hardcover comics for a while with Superman, Wonder Woman, and Batman. And they had Earth 1 Superman, Earth 1 by J.M. Straczynski and Shane Davis, and Earth 1 Batman by Jeff Johns, I believe, and Earth 1 Wonder Woman. They also had a Green Lantern one as well, and a couple others. But they never really caught on because they were hardcovers that were supposed to come out like once a year or something. But they never could get past like doing three. Like Superman had three, maybe Batman had two or three, and that's about it. And they've kind of drifted off. But they were an interesting idea of to do a new, completely fresh reboot. And then this gets into all like, or four is the Charlton characters, but it's like a more of a Watchmen version of the Charlton characters, and then so on and so on. It includes Batman Beyond's animated universe, and other universes are in here, and then Mysterious Earths too. But this is outdated, but it is fun to see the Multiversity Guide. And then let's see what other Multiversity DC titles we have. We have a Hawkman #1. This is from. We have with art by Brian Hitch, which is kind of great, kind of cool. We have a Brian Hitch JLA. I did not plan that, actually. That's kind of cool. This is from the New 52 era. Green Lantern on the cover. We have New 52 Justice League of America. That's Doomsday and nope. Wait, actually, this is before the New 52 era. And it is Doomsday and Superman. Yeah, I believe that's right before Doom. Yep. And then another Justice League of America by James Robinson. Aquaman. We got Wonder Woman 789, so this is a more recent Wonder Woman issue. Wonder Woman fighting gorillas in Gorilla City. Suicide Squad, DC Rebirth era. Another DC Rebirth era Suicide Squad with Deadshot, I believe. The Suicide Squad of the 80s was very different versus Justice League International. That's Batman in the classic blue and gray costume of the 80s that he had. I always kind of figured that the blue and gray was supposed to be like a blackish. It was only blue because of the fact that black was too dark in the comic book. But yeah, some people really dig the blue and gray costume. I kind of dig the bat signal myself, like the yellow bat signal. I want that back. Superman, Wonder Woman from the New 52 era with I believe that's Gog. I've never heard of this title, Hammerlock. So that's kind of like, I always like finding different titles in DC that you've never heard of. Flash. Warlord is kind of a sword and sorcery kind of a story. Basically, he finds himself in this kind of lost civilization, which is kind of a mix of, like, kind of similar to Marvel's Savage Land, a mix of sorcery and all kinds of, basically all areas mashed into one. So that's Warlord. Flash from New 52 era. This is by Francis Manapul. That's kind of cool. This is the Legends crossover, which was a famous 80s crossover. An issue of the Manhunter comic book from the 90s, probably lesser known. Mr. Miracle, who is also tied in with the Jack Kirby New Gods characters. A great cover of New Gods with Darkseid and Orion just sort of fighting it off. I kind of really like that cover. Mark Avinger, who is I know him best for writing Gru the Wanderer, wrote this comic book. Salvation Run was a kind of cool story that came out right before Infinite Crisis, where some of the heroes all the villains are kind of like on this prison planet and fighting each other, and that was kind of a cool story. Here's an issue of World's Finest, more recent, by Mark Waid. And this is called Thriller, but I kind of like that cover, and I'll be looking forward to seeing what it's about, but it's part of the DC Universe. This is part of the Batman White Knight series. Batman White Knight presents Generation Joker. And then another issue of Batman White Knight. So it kind of has its own Batman White Knight has its own continuity. It started out with like Joker becoming sane, and then it goes from there. And then this issue is Kronos, which is a time travel character. So those are your DC Multiverse titles today. Have fun checking out those dollar bins.